Hello everyone, welcome to RAM structural video tutorials. In this video tutorial, we will go through introduction to RAM structural system and its capabilities before proceeding to model a two-story steel building. So first of all, RAM structural system is a structural engineering software that is used for design and analysis of steel and concrete structures, which includes foundations as well. It is efficient in steel design and analysis. However, there are still some limitations and shortcomings when it comes to concrete design. For example, like RAM structural system cannot do a two-way slab design. The software is a user-friendly when it comes to gravity design. However, you may face or you may need to troubleshoot some issues whenever you are running a lateral analysis. We will address these limitations and troubleshooting issues in a separate video. A RAM structural system can also perform lateral analysis of steel structures subjected to wind and seismic loads, which we will cover in an upcoming video. Let's move on to the software itself. So, like once you open a RAM structural system, this window opens up, which is a RAM manager, which has like these options here. So in file, like you can create a new RAM model file or open an existing one, delete one. Under criteria, you have like these other options which we will go through in a second. So let me just create a new file first. I have one file over here. I'm gonna save it, replace it. All right. Okay. So once I select criteria, over here you see an option called member loads. In here you can select live load reduction options. So you need live load reduction to be done as per IBC, and then between roof live load and snow load you want to consider roof live load. If you want to consider snow loads, you'll need to create a separate model and select this option and run it. For roof live load, so under roof live load, like if you want reduction to happen, live load reduction, so you can select that option. Roof loads are reducible. And then you have these options which are like default. However, like code for live load reduction can vary based on the country you are in. So once you have selected the appropriate options, select OK. Go to self weight, make sure you have all the options selected in here. In self weight, you want to consider self weight of beams, columns, walls, slabs, etc. to be considered in the design and analysis. You can see, and in criteria you can also see steel tables, concrete tables, and other code related parameters. Under units, make sure you select your appropriate units, whichever you need. So if you select model over here, it's going to take you to another window which is a RAM modeler window, wherein you can model your steel structure or concrete structure. Post processing is something where you get your foundation loads to an Excel file, or like get a reaction loads in the format of DXF file. We'll discuss more about post processing moving forward in upcoming videos. So on the left hand side you'll see these options, which are nothing but modules. Under design you should find the same modules. So RAM steel beam does the design and analysis of steel beams only. Same goes for RAM steel column, only steel columns. RAM frame does a lateral analysis of a steel structure. RAM concrete does everything related to concrete except for foundation. And then you have RAM foundation, which is completely different again. And then RAM concept, like RAM concept and RAM connection, you can use it when you have like a two-way slab. For instance, if you have a two-way slab and you need a design and analysis of it, so what you do is like you export all the model from RAM structural system to RAM concept. Same goes for RAM connection. You can import it and like you can design connections in RAM connection. So let us go to modeler, where we can start modeling our structure. So once I select modeler, a new window opens up, which is RAM modeler window, and you have these options on the top over here. File and edit, like pretty much every applications have it. File has save as, model status, print setup, exit, and edit has undo and redo. Now under material you should see steel, steel joist, concrete, C-beam, and any other materials you want to add. Also you can select material and by selecting this drop down menu over here, and like you can see all the options provided over here. So if you have a steel structure with steel beams and steel joists, so you select between these two, like whenever you need, whichever you need, whenever you need. So before we start the modeling of the structure, we need to create a layout for each of the floors. So first I select layout, I go to type, I select option, select. Over here I'm going to say level 2, add, and then roof level. So now I have a 2-story building which has a level 2 and then roof. Now I'm going to select level 2 and say select over here. Now as you can see, level 2 is highlighted. Before we start modeling beams, columns, and other elements, we need to make sure we input our story heights for level 2 and roof level. So select story over here on the top, and over here you need to make sure it's level number 1, level 2. I'm going to say floor to floor height from foundation or base level to level 2 is 15 feet. And over here story label, I'll use level 2. Splice level, I'm gonna say no. I'll add that. Then same thing for roof, 15 feet height, story label as roof. So I'm gonna say splice level no. I'm gonna add that. So the reason behind splice level no being is I want the same size of steel column to be designed that goes from foundation to all the way to roof. Like if for instance, if you have if you are not worried about that, if you want different designs on second floor and roof level, you can say splice level yes. So it will splice the columns at second floor. That way you will have a different design above second floor and below second floor, or level 2 in this case. If you want to change any information in this, you just select whichever floor you want to change it. And then let's say for instance I want to change this to 20. I say 20 over here and select option change. So 20 gets updated. I'm gonna do 15 and then say change back. So make sure once you're done inputting all the data, make sure you select OK, because if you select escape or cancel, all the data is lost. So make sure you select OK. Now once you're done selecting OK, you can get started with your modeling with grids. So I'm going to stop the video over here. In the next video tutorial we'll get the grids done and move forward. If you have any questions, please comment below and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.